Greetings, Earth Ones, coming in for a live transmission.
Josh, transmissions from Earth. We're on a bedroom session today on this one. Got something that come by me and I thought I want to share it with you all. And it's all about self-mastery, the path of self-mastery. I mean, what is self-mastery and how would you even define it? For me, self-mastery is having ultimate presence and ultimate control over your thoughts, feelings, and actions in every given moment, which comes down to staying rooted, staying grounded, and staying present. Now, I think the only way to actually achieve self mastery or that state of being is, well, before getting on all to the things you have to go through, but you need to be aligned with the spirit. You need to be aligned with divine, because if you are not, you're going to be focused too much on the future, potential future outcomes, fixating to goals, obsessing over outcomes and achievements and accolades and worrying about what could potentially happen. You can sit back and fully surrender everything to the divine and just act accordingly with what your heart is telling you to do in that present moment. You will always discern and make the right decision which is in alignment with your higher self. Now that to me is self-mastery. The road to get there is treacherous. The road to get there is dangerous. The road to get there is difficult. Myself, for example, been boundless, endless days of suffering, long nights, battles with addiction, battles with toxic relationships, crime, being arrested, getting into fights, involving myself in drugs and all the negative backlog of karmic shit I needed to work through. But I believe God gives his bravest warriors the most fierce of battles. And the reason why, it's refinement. The more you overcome, the more challenges you face, the stronger you become, the wiser you become. And in order to carry a divine purpose and God's mission, you need to be a specific type of person. You need to be a person that can overcome hardship. You need to be a person that can stand in the fire and not be fazed by external input coming in or external noise or people trying to pull you away. You need to have a deep level of discernment in this world, and the only way to have a deep level of discernment is to go through trials and tribulations. You have to learn through experience. There's too many people out here trying to spiritually bypass their way through life and do all these practices and go to these airy fairy retreats and take the plant medicine. Listen, I'm all for all that stuff, and I've done all that stuff myself, but is it the answer? Definitely not. Can it open doors? 100%. But all these things do is show you where you need to do the work. They do not do the work for you. And this is where a lot of people get it wrong and get it mixed up. All the work you need to do is all inside yourself. Nothing outside of you can ever fix your internal state. I'll say this so many times over because I recognize the importance now and understand the impact of working on your own internal evolution, because the more you evolve as a person, everything else in life is just going to come naturally then. It's just going to come to you rather than the other way around. We're always out here like trying to chase these things outside of us, like, oh, this is going to do it. It's this retreat, then it's this relationship. No, we're going to try this medicine here, Cambo, then it's ayahuasca, then it's mushrooms, then it's peyote, and it's never-ending cycle. But you just then that just becomes your new vice and your new addiction, and healing becomes your identity. In order to bypass that, you need to be willing to sit with yourself alone in silence and face your darkness. That is where the true growth happens. That is where true healing is done. True healing is done. Not at these ceremonies, not at these retreats, not at these festivals. It is done on these quiet, dark nights alone of you struggling and really suffering and choosing not to lean on your vices and addiction, choosing to sit with that pain. See yourself butt naked in the looking at yourself in the mirror and learning to accept and love every single element and part of your being, shadows and all. And that's the difficult part, and that's a lot of the work that people are avoiding. People don't want to do this work because it's difficult, it's uncomfortable, it's showing you elements of yourself that you may be suppressing, dismissing, denying. And another good way, I think, which can supercharge your evolution, I think the two main things for me has been relationships. One, I think the right partner at the right time can completely supercharge your personal evolution, because the right partner should be a perfect identification, a perfect mirror, a divine mirror to all your darkness and all your light. You can have partners that will simply expose all the areas you're yet to work on, your insecurities, your codependency, your past trauma. This is your shadow self. You can have a partner that's going to display all that, but then doesn't actually make you aware of your light. I mean, I've experienced both. I don't want to go off down this twin flame element, but if it's slap layer, like the shadow twin and the genuine twin. So where it's like the divine mirror, you can see yourself so much in this person that it exposes you, feel all your wounds, all your scars, everything is on show, and this person can see it barefaced, and you cannot hide it, you cannot run it, you cannot run from it, you cannot deny it. So this is why I think a good aligned partner at the right time is going to be is probably one of the most powerful and most impactful ways or connections you're going to have on this journey, which is going to completely supercharge your spiritual evolution. But they can't do the work for you, I have to add. They're going to expose the parts of yourself you need to work on, but you still need to go back and do the work. It always comes back down to self. You need to be willing to sit with yourself and work through these things and give yourself the time and the patience and understanding and the grace to sit through this darkness. Now, going back to the partner. So if one of them is displaying both to you, they uplift you, they show you you in your full light, but also expose your trauma, your past self, your darkness and your shadow. This is the most perfect opportunity you are ever going to get in life. This is a blessing sent from God for you to fully see yourself and get aligned with your true authentic being, your full expression of self. And if you have been granted that through another being on this planet, then thank you, give gratitude. This doesn't necessarily need to mean you need to be with this person forever. But hold love for this person, hold space, and hold love and space for yourself, and allow yourself to heal through this connection with this person. What happens after that, when you're fully integrated, fully embodied, and fully healed, is up to you. Because you're fully attuned in your essence now. You don't need to rely on a relationship or any codependent or any attachment to make you feel whole and complete, because you've already arrived at that place. And that is a soul fulfilling and a deeply freeing place to be. It is true equilibrium in your internal state, and true peace inside the soul. You're no longer chasing, no longer seeking validation, no longer looking for approval, no longer searching for things outside of you, goals to achieve, achievements, six-pack, girls, money. All these things then become irrelevant, because do you know that these are never going to add on to yourself? You're already whole and complete. You've got everything you need. Everything else from there is just a bonus. Of course, you need to get your basic needs met. But even sat in the woods on your own, fasted, no food and water, like Jesus did, 40 days, 40 days, and 40 days? I'm going to get butchered off the Christians for that one. 40 days and 40 nights. Still at peace, because you're aligned with the Spirit. You're aligned with the Spirit within, and then divine guidance will then guide you to where you want to be. But it comes in the place of ultimate surrender. And once again, you do not get to this place without working through the shit. And the reason why I mentioned that first, in alignment with the self-mastery concept that I'm getting at, is because it is so important. It holds so much depth and so much relevance to your journey, and you cannot deny it. You cannot exclude this stuff. There is no way past it. If you want to arrive at your true authentic expression and your whole being, your true self, you have to work through this shit, man. There's genuinely no other way, I'm afraid. But the journey's worth it. And they call this the hero's journey. Most people die unhealed. Most people die not meeting their true self and not meeting their shadow because they choose to live comfortably. It's one option. It's always an option. But if you want to choose, you want to walk the path of the hero. You want to walk the hero's journey, which is difficult. It's very, very hard. It's the most toughest of challenges. But God only favours his finest of warriors. So if you're ready for the path, be willing and be accepting of these trials and tribulations that are going to come with this journey. So once you reach a state of what I like to call self-mastery, that is when everything then becomes an option rather than it's having control over you. I'll give you an example with the vices. So I didn't actually exclude or break free from my addictions and vices until I completely worked through all my shit. I did the shadow work, I did the integration, I embodied all this darkness that was in me. Until I did that, all these things still had control and still had a hold on me. The reason why is because I was suppressing and denying these parts of myself. So this manifested in addictions and vices. So that very stuff you're avoiding is the reason why you still have these addictions, these vices, these impulsive tendencies. That's just your shadow. That's just the darkness within you reacting. It's coming up to display itself, and that's how it's manifesting it, because you're not dealing with it in healthy ways. And there's so many different ways. I'd advise researching Carl Jung if you want to go deeper into the shadow self. I'm not going to go too much into it because I'm not an expert, and my individual experience is my individual experience. But if you want to do more research, he's going to be the best person I can send you to. And also having, like I said, the initiation coming from the partner is excellent, but they've got to be both willing on both parties to work through this stuff, and it is going to be very, very difficult. Back to self-mastery. So when you reach this place of self-mastery, things then begin to reorder your life exactly in alignment with how you want it to be. Addictions, habits, negative tendencies. For me, I was bad on caffeine's always been, and I never looked at it as bad because caffeine's not necessarily bad for you in a health manner. I was just too overstimulated, and because I was used to operating out of that highly stimulated state, that was my natural, not my natural state. Just that high stimulation. I thought that was just like normal, and if I wasn't in that state, it felt uncomfortable for being hyper aroused, hyper stimulated all the time. Like I couldn't operate out in any other state, and caffeine coincided with that perfectly. So when I reached this state of equilibrium and in a peace within myself, caffeine had to go, because it knocked me out of that equilibrium. It knocked me out of that stillness within, because it stimulated me and it caused me like a low level anxiety. And that was like the final boss for me, because I love that cup of coffee in the morning. I still have a little decaf now. I mean, I've not quite curbed the actual ritual of having that cup of coffee in the morning, but the caffeine's gone. I was bad for drink, partying, drugs. That was my pitfall throughout my teenage and pre-adolescent years or early adolescent years. Not even right now. I used to be out every weekend, sometimes 3-4 times a week, taking drugs daily. Even when I was younger, I was really, really bad for substance abuse. But now these things, they no longer have a pull. They used to have still have a little bit of a, ooh, that'd be nice. A little beer here would be nice. Or, ooh, just have a little tickle there. It'd be all right, just 1 or 2. And it was never 1 or 2. Who were I kidding? But right now, there's not even the slightest bit of pull to act out these behaviours. The alcohol, the drugs, the caffeine, what else? Food even. Food was a bad one for me. When I got off the drugs, I started overeating and being overindulging in food, binge eating and things like that. That also, I've been able to cut out sugar, I've cut out gluten, dairy, even meat, and I love meat, I love a steak. The only reason why is because it doesn't align with my higher self. Once you evolve, these things that don't align with your evolution or the level your frequency are vibrating at, whatever isn't aligned with that vibration will fall off you. It will literally just fall off you, including my body fat. My body fat is reducing. My diet's been trimmed down to very fine, minute. If you want to know more about nutrition, exactly what I'm eating, just let me know in the comments. I'll do a video exactly on my nutrition protocol and lifestyle habits. I am planning on doing a bit more lifestyle habit stuff because I recognise the importance of it. But yeah, I'll get into that on a later video. So the self-mastery is just, I'm willing now, if I recognise it doesn't align with my higher self and it isn't in alignment with my current frequency, I can just drop it like that now. And that, I believe, is self-mastery, where I could never ever do that before. It took me years to get off the drug, the drink, the alcohol. I was trying for a very, very long time before I actually broke free. But it was not until this stage, until I reached this state of equilibrium with myself, aligned myself with the spirit and my higher self, till these things just fell off me. Lust, semen retention, been practicing that for around 2 years now. I've been able to get a handle on lust. And women, I can look at pretty women and no longer be pulled to them like a wild animal, like I just want to rip the clothes off. Salivating in a public library like a dog. I don't know why I said library. I've not been in a library since a young snapper. But you get my gist. So I think this ties in perfectly and correlates nicely to the path of self-mastery as well, because these I'm speaking about, these desires, these addictions, these tendencies, the number one or the most intense or the hardest dragon to slay out of all them is the lust. So if you can just go straight to the top boss, instead of going to all these little cronies, the drink, the drugs, the food, go to the top boss, beat the top boss, all these other things are just going to go, they're going to dissolve too. So me aligning with my true authentic self, working through my shadow, getting through my shit, being able to sit with myself at peace, feel like I don't need to be anywhere and do anything, aligned with divine purpose, and then combating lust and going straight for the top boss while still having all these things going on in the background, like the drink, drugs, food, and we're still doing semen retention. The semen retention plus combined what I've just discussed, that for me is the perfect alchemic solution to authenticity and self-mastery. I'll give you the blueprint right there. Now I know there's so many different intricacies and personal things that can go in it, but that is what's worked for me. And these have been the most impactful and most powerful things. The semen retention, another one I'm going to go in deeper on a video because it deserves its own series of videos. I mean, I'm going to speak about that a lot more on the channel. So if you're interested, drop us a subscribe. You'll be seeing more videos like that about my journey of semen retention and where it's got me and where I am now, how I control lust, so on and so forth. But combining this plethora of alchemic practices, transmuting this energy, has got me to this destination now where I no longer seek and no longer looking for anything now outside of me. Like everything that comes now is a bonus, and it's all now driven from that divine place and that divine essence. So that's kind of where I want to get at with the self-mastery. But I think leading onto the road, or at least starting the path, if I was to give you any advice, go straight for the top boss. Start semen retention. Start that as soon as possible. What this is also going to do, it's going to take your focus and attention away from trying to quit the drink, drugs, alcohol, all these tendencies and these vices and these things that have control over you right now. And it's going to put all your focus and attention on controlling your sexual essence. So you're going to be taking the power away from them and putting it back onto yourself and your internal impulses and your primal nature, which is powerful in of itself, because the more you focus on trying to quit things, the more you're giving that focus and attention to them things you're trying to break free from. It's like trying to get over an ex and you're constantly thinking about her and writing about her and focusing on quitting the ex, thoughts of the ex. You don't try and quit from it. You focus on doing something else, and then eventually that feelings, that thoughts, that reoccurring repetitive rumination of thoughts, they dissolve and disappear. Same apply with semen retention. If you focus solely on that and then sit in and doing these practices in the background to try and integrate or at least get in contact with these darknesses, which is going to be the root cause and where these things are coming from. So if you can kind of be acknowledging, be aware of that, self-aware of that, of these things that you need to work on, write these things down, make a big list of all these things you need to work through and begin to tick them off one by one. And then in the background, just practice semen retention. Give yourself the patience, give yourself the grace, accept that you're going to fall off time and time and time again. It's all part of the journey. It's never going to look perfect. But if you can look at it as a lifelong journey, a lifelong practice, the deeper you go into semen retention, I can promise you, the less power these things are going to have on you, and the more you're going to be on getting closer to that version of yourself, which is has achieved self-mastery. Have I got anything more to add? No, I think I'm happy with that. I mean, I hope you are too. I hope you found some value in there. If you want more, like I said, I'm going to be posting things. I'm going to actually get my little pen and pad out, because I've written some things that I'm going to be writing down for you. Some topics, main topics I'm going to be touching on over the next God knows how long. Just once again, it's not up to me. This is just flowing through me. It's getting channeled. But I'm going to be speaking about semen retention, my journey, practices, addictions and tendencies, women, mastering women and the worldly desires of women, divine purpose, how the divine actually works and how it manifests itself in your life, and how to actually discern the voice of the divine and the devil, which is very important. Solitude and isolation, and Hermetic law. I'm very, very interested in a minute. I've been studying a lot about Hermetic laws. If you don't know what that is, just give it a quick Google. But I'll be speaking about it more on this page. I've come across a framework and 8 laws that I've applied to my life, which you can also apply to your life, which I think is going to be very beneficial by bridging this metaphysical, the divine, to this physical realm. So yeah, don't forget to drop me, subscribe, comment, do all the good stuff, and I'll see you on the other side, people. Peace.